So there are three keywords that we are supposed to deal with: training, skills, and industry 5.0. Now let me start with a question to the audience. How many of you have heard of the word prompt engineering? Can we have a show of hands? Prompt engineering? Excellent. So nobody had heard of this term before November 2022 because it is related to ChatGPT. Now this is a skill which comes under industry 5.0. Tomorrow there would be a new term. So this is how fast things are changing, right? And we have to adjust as higher educational institutes. Now ChatGPT has done wonders in the sense if you give an assignment as a teacher to students, they will put the prompts in ChatGPT, the entire report will be created within 30 seconds. So now what people are doing, professors are giving them assignments, telling them use ChatGPT for the first draft and improve it. And then I will evaluate. So that's the kind of on your feet thinking people have to do. So if we go to the term industry 5.0, it basically deals with three things. One is the human centricity. So AI is not going to rule us. We need to take advantage of AI. Second is sustainability. And third is resilience. So these three terms define what industry 5.0 is. So in today's panel, I request all the panelists to think about and reflect and tell us what they are doing in their organizations so that they can be up to date with the industry 5.0 skills which are required, and how do they plan to train and upgrade the students that they have and even the executives that they train. So we'll start in order. I'll request Mr. Bansal to take the first stab. We have around 35 minutes, so each of you have 5 to 6 minutes, and then if there is some time left, I'll come back to you. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure and honor to be here. And in the company of such esteemed colleagues, I'd learned something for further doing what exactly is expected out of us under Industry 5.0. To be honest, there's a lot to be done. Of course, a couple of things have been done, but one has never to be satisfied with what exactly you're doing. First of all, if you want to be discussing the skills or the training part, fortunately, we have a tremendous industry support, industry backup. Even today, 4 senior industry people are at the campus. And we have a big system, a very robust system of the feedback that we keep on getting after every visit. And there's a review of that, whether the same has been put into place, whether it could be implemented, and to what extent it is being implemented. Number one, I was hearing the previous panel and Professor Das talking about difficulties at times not very keenly adopting to changes. But let me say that we have been very fortunate. Our faculty is very, very keen at learning new things and very apt at delivering the things faster than my expectation. So we have been able to have this culture over the years. Yes, difficulty was there. Possibly without at that time even knowing the real word of Industry 5.0. We have been really taking care of each other at our campus. Even during the 2 years of COVID, all of us were very strongly connected with each other from day one. Our exams were postponed only for 2 days. You won't believe. 22nd March was a lockdown. 24th March, the exams were slated. And we conducted exams from 26th of March in the online mode. Rather, the chairman AICT, when he learned, he called me up after 4 days as to how did you do it and which portal did you use it, which technology did you use it. So the entire credit goes to the faculty, and fortunately no faculty has, to be honest, left us all these days or all these years. We are grateful to them. Possibly, I don't know, willingly, unwillingly, knowingly, unknowingly, possibly one is trying to be taking care of the people over there. And even during COVID, I must say, we put a full-time doctor onto the job. We bought so many oxygen concentrators. We bought everything, and faculty could just come and pick up. Their houses were being getting sanitized by our staff every third day whenever there was a difficulty. So I think that's a part of Indian culture. It's part of our culture. We don't have to really learn out of it. And more you are conscious about it, possibly you are delivering the whole thing. Coming to the students, only last month, the newest students did 2 weeks of CSR internship, all the 100% students. And now they're preparing projects around that. They would be evaluated against all of them. We have 2 more such systems. One is we created a V cell, we call it a Women Entrepreneurship Cell. It was created 2 years back with the support of SPJIMR. Intention is that women, the girls studying at the campus, they would get into social entrepreneurship in a very big way. And fortunately, you'll be happy to know that a lot of boys also joined it. That why girls? We will do it together with them. And they've been taking up social entrepreneurship projects throughout the country about it. So that's another couple of such things are happening very regularly. We have 2 other centers, sustainability and excellence, and there's another RIPA NDIM Center of Excellence, where students are working around renewable energy sectors, because we see a very big scope for jobs in that sector. All our courses, I mean, it's not easy to believe it, all our courses, electives and core, have a component of sustainability included in that. And you would say, how exactly it's possible, what exactly is being done under that. So we are trying to say in this teaching, which are the sustainability aspect which the industry needs to take care. What are the sustainability aspects, if not taken care of, are going to hit your businesses? So purpose is, being a business school, every aspect of sustainability into that sector has to be merged part into the curriculum. So I think now, I mean, that's sufficient I've said, but given another opportunity, I'll add whatever more to this.
Thank you, Mr. Bansal, for great insights. So one skill that we all need to learn is thinking on our feet. So a very good example sir gave, when as soon as the lockdown was announced, the institute pivoted to online testing, right? So that's something which is good thinking and fast thinking. And on sustainability and resilience also, they're already doing something which is a good thing. But one more aspect that all of us need to look at is scan the environment continuously as to what is the next thing that is coming up. So we should not be left behind when the industry comes up with a new term or a new technology. We should not be following the industry. We should be leading the industry as higher educational institutes. So moving on to Dr. Urvashi, could you please tell us what your institute is doing in this regard?
Thank you very much, and very good afternoon to all of you. And it definitely is an honor to be part of this elite panel, and a lot to learn from each other. And highly relevant theme for this particular panel. I must congratulate the organizers for this. I must share one thing, and of course, that is very well known to all of us in Skilling 5.0. Or if we are talking about, undoubtedly, the future for work, that is something which needs to be understood by every B school. After all the B schools are the talent providers to the market. We are creating certain level of the talent which is conducive and as per the expectations and requirements of the corporate. That's what is the engagement, and that's what is the collaborative equation and the dynamics which we are creating in the market. So that is why I believe that everyone who is belonging to this academic fraternity, specifically in the B schools, have huge responsibility on their shoulders. And that responsibility starts, I believe, right from the first day the student enters into the campus, because every single day is going to give them entirely different perspective and dimension of the skills. When we talk about the skilling in this current scenario where the dynamic approach between the technology, corporate, and the human have become very complex, it definitely is a very challenging task for the B schools to adapt according to these expectations. Just imagine that Harvard University has launched 60 years of curriculum in which they are dedicating a big division for creating continuously the curriculum for the 60 years of work life of any single individual, as per on the hypothesis that every one of us is having 60 years of working life. And when we talk about the current scenario, the youngsters, as per the very recent Forbes article, which was published only last month, that the youngsters in the age group of 22 to 40 years, they are changing their jobs in the duration of 2 to 3 years. That is the average transition rate of the youngsters. So the reasons have to be understood, first of all, by the B schools, and then they should be integrated in the whole scenario and the system. And the ecosystem needs to be created. Just imagine that after every 5 years, the skill set expectations are changing in the market. Imagine the skill which is today highly significant and strategic is going to become redundant after 5 years. So it is not about which skill we are teaching in the B school at this moment, but it is about creating the learning agility amongst the students. It's very important component that we have to create the flexibility with respect to the learning for the lifelong amongst our students in the B school, so that whatsoever are the skill requirements, they have that inbuilt capability to learn, relearn, and unlearn according to the requirements of the market and in the corporate sector. But yes, definitely for those 2 years, what exactly are the expectations of the corporate in the coming 5 years? They have to be understood, and accordingly, the student should be given the training and development. So surely, based on all these aspects, at IMS Ghaziabad, we are definitely doing a lot. Very recently, and of course, when I say that we are doing a lot, I must sum up that there are 3 major dimensions which we are trying to touch base for the student fraternity and to give them the conduciveness to go for the corporate sector. First, the academic quality. And as per the academic quality within the classroom sessions, the curriculum has to be upgraded based on the expectations of the recruiters. Then comes very important component besides academic quality, the pedagogical innovations, that how classroom treatment and the student engagement is done in the campus. So for that, obviously, how much we are related and connected with the reality and practice, that needs to be understood. So obviously, when I say the curriculum upgradation, the examples are that in last 1 year, we have added 42 new modules in the curriculum of our campus. The modules are likes of the analytics has been added as one component in almost every specialization subjects, whether that is HR analytics or marketing analytics or the financial modeling or the business analytics. Then obviously it is very important to understand that today we are not living in the so-called tech sector, or the students can be prepared separately for the technology or the IT sector. In fact, every single sector is impacted by the technology. So the students' digital literacy has to go beyond to the level of even digital expertise. So that's why the integration of every single subject with the technology is very much needed. That's the reason that even in the first trimester, in human resource management, 1 full unit of HR analytics has been added by us. In the marketing management, in the first trimester even, the Google Analytics has been added as 1 full unit, and which is having 1 credit for the students. So that's how the curriculum definitely has to be aligned accordingly. The second component which has been added very recently by us and which has seen a lot of success rate in terms of its transition and conversion into the placements of the students, if in any ways placement is the outcome expected in the B schools. Of course, I don't believe that otherwise, because I believe placement has to be a byproduct. The focus of a B school has to be on creation of the skills, not on the placements. But yes, it is an irony in our society that the students consider placement as an outcome. But yes, if it is an outcome, even then, the correlation is very strong at IMS Ghaziabad about curriculum upgradation and the skill enhancement. And the second dimension, which I was trying to add on over here, is the value addition. And for that, value added certification courses, which we have integrated in our curriculum. We have tied up with various agencies around us, like for MS Excel Advanced Certification, we have tied up with Microsoft. For Google Analytics and Business Analytics course, we have tied up directly with IB. IBM for 30 hours, 3-credit module to be offered to 100%
Ma'am, I'll
students.
come back to you. Can we pass on?
Yes,
We'll
surely.
go to the next round.
So let me wind up in 30 seconds. That these value adds, whether they are with collaboration with MCX, whether with IBM, they are definitely giving a lot of inputs to the students and outcomes are very clearly visible. And the third component is the global interface, which is very, very important to be integrated in the curriculum in all the organizations and B schools today, for which we have also created 2 full-fledged subjects, DBT, that is Digital Business Transformation, and MCIT, Management of Change, Innovation and Technology, which are being taught by the global experts in the campus. But yes, definitely there are much more, I'm very sure, needed to be done. These are very humble initiatives by the campus and they are giving us huge results. Thank you. So over to you, please.
So learning to learn is one thing that comes up with whatever ma'am said. So that is what we need to teach students, or students need to learn that aspect. So whatever changes come, they are able to adapt to that. Over to Dr. Vishwanath. What's your opinion on this?
Delegates and the panelists. So I was listening for the last 2 hours of the session. So I was recalling the last 32 years how we have been transformed as an educationalist, various levels. Generally, it is a perception we hear about from the people. 20th century individuals are educators teaching to 21st century workers using 19th century curriculum with 18th century pedagogy. Because this is the system, we are in university system. We have to, of course, B schools, most of B schools are autonomous. Yes, we have the privilege of bringing our own curriculum. But this is the challenge I think majority institutions are facing. So having how to overcome this. And when you look at the World Economic Forum report says very clearly that, the 4 skill sets are very, very essential to be successful in Industry 5.0 by the students, the learners. The one is the problem solving, very essential. And second is managing self. Today becoming very crucial for the current generation. Managing self is very crucial. The third is about working with groups, the work. And the fifth is about technology use and development. So by taking this into consideration, of course, much beyond we have started the courses in a very different pedagogy architecture we brought in, wherein 60% is the core, which is mandate as per the curriculum has to be delivered, and 40% we brought in as the practicing courses, which have been graded. So what are these practicing courses? Primarily focusing upon these 4 key skills which the industry is expecting. Problem solving, we aligned with RI called as research incubation, whereby every student, it is a mandate. By the time he completes, he will be assigned to a faculty mentee. He or she has to publish one paper in the area of their interest under the guidance of a faculty, minimum in Scopus Index Journal. Trust me, this year already from January, the last year we published 75 papers out of 95 students, and this year already completed 25 from the last 3 weeks. So this is the one thing wherein we seen the result of it as a byproduct. Just now Madam said, Urvashi said, no, byproduct, placement is a byproduct. Obviously, this we are able to see this year placements. So one is that, and secondly about this actually we have given another thing, version to rather, that is that this is also shown how students are able to look complex problem solving. Because we ensure that, what is the risk that involved in solving complex problems? Because complex problems, solutions at times what they give may be beyond your thought. Am I able to see this impact? So that is the skill we have to imbibe in, that we are very successfully doing that through RI. That is what is critical thinking ability. And secondly about, managing self, very essential today. So we have a course called as Personality Enhancement Program, whereby we have lifestyle and life skills, lifestyle for healthy body, and life skills primarily focus upon how to be resilient, how to be, how to be stress tolerance, and how to be flexible to the work environments. And that's the life skills being taught there, along with interpersonal communication. And next, coming to the being the teams, being working people. The third skill which the industry is expecting today, highly coming generation. So that is what we are doing is we have a lot of initiatives given to the students. Actually, we have one of the very prestigious event called as Kanyatan Run for Her. It is the 9th year we are doing this, whereby it is purely run by the student body. They have a CEO. It's a corporate, they have a CEO, they have a manager branding, everything is there. They have their own account. It's not run by the, so they mobilize every year more than 50 to 60 lakhs. They make a run. Last year we had 2,500 to run for this, and thereby that money is going for social cause. That means we connect to the society. That means we have Kanyatan Shiksha Kendras in 5 rural villages in Kolar district we adopted, whereby these students, weekends they go and they give lectures to them and they train them on computer literacy, the rural people. That means we are connecting. Once by running the event, they are learning the managerial skills, how to be a leader and how to be a team member. And secondly, also we are connecting with the society. And the fourth one is technology. Today, I think digital literacy is very, very essential for us today to live with. So we have tie-up with INSOFI and we have with the MIT and we have Darden and we have Christ universities for different courses on analytics and digital literacy, digital business courses. So thereby, we are able to meet all the 4 expectations of the World Economic Forum for the industry. I think I'm very confident that, of course, this is not the end. There are many things to come in. I think we have to monitor the world very closely, because I want to tell one thing here, because the first technological revolution was Industry 3.0. It was happened in end of 20th century, whereby the Industry 4.0 has come beginning of 21st century. That's the shift, the change is happening. So we have to be alert and we have to be every day observing that. And I think my panelists agree that no, we are on that track and we are monitoring and we're doing things the way it is required.
So Professor Ruppal, so there is a regulatory aspect to this, right? Industry 5.0. So in addition to what the institute is doing, can you throw some light on the regulatory aspect of Industry 5.0? I'll just give an example and then maybe you can elaborate on that. So with this automatic programming coming up, so you must have heard of GitHub Copilot. So there you have to just give a comment that please download all the images on a particular web page. It will give you the code. You just have to paste the URL of the website. Now, people and companies have banned the use of Copilot because attribution is not proper. Who has written that code? Machine has written the code. And if it has copied from somewhere, you don't know the original author. So it's a regulatory issue and people are in the courts to address this issue. So something like these will keep coming up. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. And I agree with my co-panelists here in terms of the focus areas which we as B schools should be really looking at. Industry 4.0 was really about digitization, automation, IoT, blockchain, and the works, and that is continuing today. But Industry 5.0, when we are looking at it, is technology plus. It's really saying, can industry go beyond profitability and efficiency and look at impact in terms of social impact, impact on the planet where we are. You mentioned, about sustainability and resilience, and those are 2 very important pillars of Industry 5.0. But there's a very third important pillar, which is human centricity. Right? So these 3 put together is something that managers of tomorrow need to be looking at. And when we are looking at future of B schools and the management education, we have to look at future of work. How is industry going to shape up? Right? Technology is here to stay. All the examples which you gave are actually very relevant. While we are looking at how ChatGPT is doing assignments, tomorrow agencies will be thinking about what they need to do, because brand managers are going to ask ChatGPT to come up with a creative campaign and they deliver that in equally that many seconds. So if our people are going to be managers there tomorrow, how do they deal with it? So I'll touch upon these aspects very briefly. So at SPJIMR, I'm very glad to share that it's not only now, but actually for more than 30 years that the Institute has really focused on societal impact. Our guiding principles have been influencing practice, which is the practice of management, and value-based growth. So when we said value-based growth, the idea was that, yes, business is about growth and profitability, but we also have to look at the impact of business outside, right? So we have what we used to call the Center for Development of Corporate Citizenship. So we said the manager should be a good corporate citizen and a good citizen of the world. So many years ago, when other B school students were doing summer internships with corporations, with corporates, our students started doing NGO internships, and they used to do their corporate internships later, and that practice still continues. And our alumni come back to us and tell us that those were life-changing experiences, right? In addition to that, so I'm talking now about the sensitivity responsible leadership and human centricity perspective. I'll come to the sustainability perspective in a bit. So in addition to this initiative, we have also started a program called Abhyudaya, which is a mentorship program, which provides learning opportunities for both stakeholders. Now, who are the stakeholders here? So we have our full-time MBA students who are young people, mostly from relatively privileged backgrounds, not all, but quite a few. They interact with slum children who come from underprivileged backgrounds. Each child, each SPJIMR participant mentors one such child who we call sitaras, right? And when they graduate to second year, they hand over the mentorship to the new first year student who has come. So each sitara is mentored throughout their entire journey till they finish school. While the sitaras are definitely learning from our students, I think the bigger learning comes from our students, because when they go and meet them, when they go and see their houses, when they interact and understand the challenges with which these children are growing up, they learn to have a different perspective in life. And that's, we feel, that will make them better leaders when they go forth into the industry. And this whole talk about resilience, sustainability, sensitivity to the environment and to the stakeholders comes from part of these experiences. So that is one. The second, as a North Star, and this is a focus which the Institute is looking at now very, very closely, is the focus on wise innovation, right? All of us were talking about the rapid pace of change, and we all have to evolve with it as industry is evolving, and innovation is the call of the hour, but we're looking at wise innovation. What is that? It's really an inclusive approach to innovation, where you are trying to look at usefulness of the innovation to all stakeholders, and also the long-term impact and outcomes which could result from the innovation, right? So which could be in terms of societal impact, which could be in terms of responsible innovation and responsible leadership. So whether it is research areas, we are looking at how to incorporate that in our research. Whether it is looking at curriculum, we are seeing how innovation, and looking at innovation through multiple lenses: systems thinking lens, design thinking lens. And design thinking is a course which is introduced a few years back across all our programs, whether it's executive programs or full-time programs. And when we are looking, one key element here is human centricity or human-centered approach to problem solving, where you are trying to develop empathy and looking at a problem from a stakeholder's perspective, right? And therefore, the issue of saying how do you adapt, how do you change, how do you not get wedded to a process or a system, and you are open to looking at it in terms of the need of the stakeholder, in terms of the need of the broader environment in which we are living. Coming now to the question on the regulation part, one very important issue which you raised really is also an issue of plagiarism, right? And when we're talking of responsible leaders and responsible managers, it also is sensitivity to the ethical dimension which comes in everything we do, okay? Whether it's business decisions or whether it is as a student making assignments. And I think in our schooling system itself, probably we have not been sensitized enough to the copyright issues. It's not really, I don't think it's a lack of moral values in us, but we are not really attuned to thinking about this, that every time I pick up a sentence or a picture from somewhere, I need to be attributing it. So regulatory issues are there, ethical issues are also there, and we are trying to inculcate that through policies which we communicate to our participants as soon as they begin their journey with SPJIMR as to what is allowed, what is not allowed, how you should be presenting facts, how you should look at data. And data privacy is another important aspect of regulatory things which we need to look at in all its dimensions when you are looking at decision making, collecting data from different stakeholders, and also using that data. So I think data privacy is an important aspect which decision makers need to look at now.
Thank you very much, ma'am. So we'll go one more round for any closing comments. Mr. Bansal, over to you.
In fact, I would say that this basically has been part of our culture, only we seem to have forgotten, because at times I see, since fortunately for me, I have not been, please don't mind it, I've not been an educationist throughout my life. I've been a civil servant. And it's only after my active innings in the government of India at senior positions, I'm into this new role for the last couple of years. And, I've been feeling that most of the time the academia or the academic institutions or the government regulatory systems, they got stuck into the old ideas. They remained aloof from what was happening around the world. They were just caught up into the degrees and other things. So fortunately, such kinds of conferences, discussions are happening now, and possibly things should change. But only thing, as Professor Vishwanath also said, most of the time you find that people on the other side, I don't want to blame the teachers, they are still into yesterday. Till their problems are taken care of, till their knowledge is really taken care of, till they start thinking of the next century, I do not really see things happening in a very big way.
Thank you, Mr. Bansal. Dr. Urvashi.
Thank you. I would appreciate the role of the current implementation of new education policy in our country today, which definitely has triggered outcome-based education in a big way. And that has become a catalyst in the implementation of the problem-based learning in most of the campuses, I believe. And that has been the reason that today, if we'll talk about Bloom's taxonomy and the usage of the higher levels of the Bloom's taxonomy in the classroom teaching, I believe that's being followed in totality in most of the B schools, including, of course, at IMS Ghaziabad also. So I believe that the government plays very important role in the overall ecosystem of any education scenario in any of the country. And the current era should be considered as the golden era, because we are witnessing the implementation of new education policy in our country, in most of the institutions, universities, in a big way. And that problem-solving approach and the problem-based learning, if can become the premise of any of the educational institution, I'm sure most of the problems are already sorted, because then our focus will be on the outcomes, focus will be on the integration of the corporate with the academia, and undoubtedly, we will try to devise the ways, and the reverse engineering will automatically happen to create the curriculum to be conducive to the corporate sector. And besides this, I would definitely add up to the role of the peer learning in the B schools, which is to be inculcated in a big way with the various practices and the traditions. And I believe that's being done in most of the B schools nowadays. That's the reason the role of alumni is becoming much more significant these days. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Urvashi. Dr. Vishwanath, closing remarks.
Yeah. See, to conclude, I want to say one thing. As a teacher for 33 years, I want to tell the students this. See, always we think. Now, today I want to tell two things. One is today we are 1.42 billion demographically, and we overtook China by 5 million. Demographically, we are strong. Intellectually, we are strong. And now, thanks to NEP, has given a lot of leverage on multidisciplinary approach. So, encash it and look into the career building with social responsibility. That's what I want to tell.
Thank you, Dr. Vishwanath. Professor Ruppal.
Okay, I think a lot of the points have already been shared. Just want to add one more thing as a concluding remark, is that whatever we do to prepare for Industry 5.0, we have to do it across all our courses. It is not just introduction of one or two courses which are standalone looking at ESG and sustainability. Of course, that is important. But let's say take marketing and then say, okay, how are we looking at a circular economy, or how are we looking at responsible, consumption? Introducing these aspects in each and every course and looking at how we can link our learning outcomes to SDGs, I think is the way to go forward. Thank you.
So we are living in interesting times, and looks like all the institutes are working towards imparting skills and training for Industry 5.0. We are not there yet. We are still working on Industry 4.0 issues, but we will reach there. Thank you very much.
We are left with 2 minutes. In case if there is any question from the audience, we can definitely take up very quickly. Any question from any of the students' side? I can see a lot of students sitting over here.
Thank you very much. Thank you to all the panelists, and thank you BW Business World for giving us this opportunity. Thank you very much.